So, the MCU has finally returned with Wandavision. After over a year with no MCU stuff, we're finally back. And to be honest, this was the MCU show that I was the least excited for when it was announced. Primarily based on Wanda and Vision's relationship in previous MCU films not being that engaging, in my opinion. But as we learn more and more about it, I started to get more interested, and now it's done. So, let's talk about it. I'm going to go spoilers first, and then non-spoilers. Also, it's the first review. I'm going to try this kind of format, half footage, half face. Yes, I know I've looked better, but I just watched the season finale to the morning, and now I'm recording this because I want to get this out as soon as possible. So, let's talk about it. Honestly, WandaVision might be one of my favorite MCU projects ever, or at least the first half of it would be. If the whole thing was like the second half, I wouldn't say that, but the second half also doesn't ruin it, if that makes sense. But first, non-spoilers. What did I love about this? First of all, the performances and the chemistry between Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. Both of them in this are two of my favorite MCU performances ever because of the versatility of it. We're used to seeing Wanda, the tragic, hurt, painful character who, is going through so much trauma and all this. And she has played that well, but in this one we get to see a different side to Elizabeth Olsen's acting ability, playing out these various sitcom characters. She fits these characters really well in the 1950s, this sort of over-the-top American, what the type of acting for those kind of sitcoms was then. She was thoroughly charismatic and fun, and then also the way that it tied into the actual Wanda, and where you see her glimpse through, and then slowly the real Wanda kind of comes through. Yeah, I really enjoyed that from Elizabeth Olsen, and the exact same thing for Paul Bettany, who is extremely fun and charming, especially in the first half. In this sitcom, goofy role, they really fit well. I guess it's not a coincidence that they cast two good actors to play these roles, but they really fit the style of the sitcoms very well. And on that, I think part of the reason why I love the first half of the season so much is because of how good the actual sitcom episodes are. Like, just as sitcom episodes. I think it's episode 2 where they do the magic show. I was actually invested in that as just an episode on its own, like as if I was watching that sitcom, And I think that's a really big credit to the writing, captures those sitcoms well while also making its own fun sitcom episode, and those charming performances from Olsen and Bettany, and everyone in the town actually, really, and also the costume design and the production design and how it captures this aesthetic and the way the camera's set up and all this. When it started, I was like, it was the most unique MCU thing I think we've seen in a long time, maybe since Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's a completely different level of, or type of unique from that. Yeah, I really loved the episode 2 with the magic show. And then also, as many of you will know, I love you can tell something's up, but you don't really know what it is exactly, and then it slowly starts unraveling. I love that type of story. It's very intriguing to me. It's little things at first, and then kind of it keeps building and building and building until you're like, okay, something's messed up here, and then it is revealed. And this is exactly that for the first, 4 or so episodes. The stop it moment in the first episode, and the beekeeper in the second, and the blood on the glass and the helicopter, and all that kind of stuff. I just found it so fun to watch unravel. It was a genuinely really well done, compelling, mystery, fun, what's gonna happen kind of story, up to a certain point, I would say. And I also think that's why it was excellent this was a week-to-week basis, release. Because after each episode, you could kind of speculate on what's gonna happen next time and what's happening in this world. And I think it really took advantage of that release method. So each episode kind of added a little new layer to it. And I get watching Mr. Sunday's videos each week after the episode, seeing the theories about it. It was just a fun experience as a whole. How does this fit into the MCU? Which characters are good and bad? Who's causing all this? What dimension are we in? What world? Now that it's all done, especially as time passes and people, get more used to what the overall story was, I feel like that might be lost a little bit, but the experience of watching this for the first time is very enjoyable. And just after each episode, I watch it with my mom, and after each episode we kind of speculate on what's happening and what's going to happen next time, and which character is doing this and that. And it's just a fun experience, man. And I don't think we're going to get that with the other Disney Plus shows. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, the mystery element of this really, I think, is going to make this stand out. I think this was a great one to introduce it with because it fits that TV style so well. And yeah, also, similar to other Disney Plus shows like The Mandalorian, effects-wise and everything, this is basically movie level. There are a few effects that are... we'll talk about that in spoilers. But generally speaking, the effects, the world, the cast, I mean... it's a movie, but a story that fit better for an episodic. I mean, there's a really, especially considering like the meta, episode element of it, really fit better to a TV show than a movie. In terms of the rest of the cast, I really enjoyed seeing Jimmy Woo here, and I love about the MCU now that we can just have random side characters kind of crossing over and showing up where it makes sense. Like it doesn't feel like there are contracts involved and this character can't show up because he's booked for this movie. Like it really just feels like a normal, like a real universe because of these crossovers that I think really happened with Endgame especially. The MCU started to do things that you would think, oh yeah, that'd be fun. Like as a fan, like you'd see like a fan post like, I wish Jimmy Woo would show up in this. Like, wouldn't that be funny? But it doesn't seem like something that would actually happen because it's not like super, like, it's not the first thing you would think of, I guess. Or having Darcy come in, it's not the first thing you think of, but then it's like, oh, it's like a fun thing. And I don't know. That's the thing about the MCU. It feels like it's made by fans. Fans who also are good at telling stories. Monica Rambeau, I also thought was very good. Another seemingly kind of random thing, but okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. I want to say things about spoilers, so maybe I think I'm just going to cut to the spoilers. Overall on WandaVision, it's a really enjoyable, intriguing build-up to a somewhat satisfying finale. Mostly, I would say satisfying finale. It's not, a good finale. I think the finale and like the sort of once all the cards are revealed, that part of it is the weakest part and probably the part I, find the least memorable about it, but it's not bad. It's still good. And to be honest, like at a certain point, you have to reveal the mystery. You have to show, like, you can't just have it all be mystery and then just no answers. That would be annoying as hell. For what that is, like, considering they have to show the mystery, I can't really see much of a better way to do it. I just think that part will inherently be less interesting than the build-up. So yeah, let's get into spoilers, I'd say. Okay, first of all, God, where do I even start? The ending, or the finale. Or I guess when it's revealed kind of how things came together. It was okay. I think I'm not upset like from a fan theory perspective where like my fan theory wasn't right or like Doctor Strange didn't show up so I'm mad. Like that part's fine. I guess it's a little anticlimactic, but I do actually really really enjoy Paul Bettany's absolute memery of the situation.
I get to work with this actor that is a total secret, and I get to work with this actor that I have been longing to work with and act with for years, and I finally got to, and it was amazing, and fireworks exploded, and it was great.
I found that very amusing. It reminds me of like a joke like my grandpa would tell or something, like, I've always wanted to work with this very handsome and charismatic actor, and then it turns out to be him, Good on you, Bettany. I like that. Yeah, in terms of just the finale in general, I just think it was a little less, I don't want to say complex, but like interesting than maybe it could have been. I'm sure the fan theory thing, even though I'm not like super involved in it, played a part in that. But the fact that it was basically just what you expected, really, like the most basic version of it, I suppose. Like we all thought, like, yeah, Agatha's, probably a bad guy and she's probably done some bad stuff. But like there must be something else behind the scenes that's manipulating her, or she's working for someone else, because it seemed almost too simple. And then I was like, oh, that is the twist. It was that, like, okay. That's that. I guess there wasn't much surprise after a certain point. Like after episode 3, maybe, I feel like I'd kind of put together everything that was happening, and I just didn't really know it yet. I was just like, maybe that's like the first level of it, but there's probably more, and there wasn't. And that's fine. That's probably like a mismanagement of expectations, but I thought it was okay. The thing is, though, yeah, it's just less interesting once it's all revealed, and episodes 8 and 9, I would say, were definitely the weakest for me, just because episode 8 was a giant exposition dump, and it was fine, and it had some solid moments. I liked when Vision talked about love and grief and all that. Really did that justice there.
But what is grief if not love persevering?
But generally it just felt kind of like, here is what's happened, and here's a little bit of retconning to, Wanda always had powers, and then the Soul Stone, or the Mind Stone, gave her more powers, and she liked sitcoms. And then the last one was, here's big lasers, and Vision fighting Vision, and Wanda fighting Agatha, and it's like, yeah, okay. It was not that exciting. It was fine. The effects were kind of subpar in the in the final episode, especially when Vision's fighting Vision. I was like, this looks a lot more like TV effects than the rest of the show has, but you can't have it all. Yeah, it devolved into kind of less interesting, just action, and I mean, the costume looks cool. That's probably the best version of like the Scarlet Witch costume you could do in live action. Fair play. And I did enjoy very much funnily enough, the one part without lasers and action, with the way Vision kind of defeats White Vision with the like psychological and intellectual debate kind of philosophical thing. You know, we've gotten used to Vision being like vibranium and lasers and all that stuff, and the fact that he just kind of philosophied him to giving up. I really enjoyed that. Quicksilver. Let's talk about Quicksilver. Yeah, another thing where it was very cool to see him. And that moment was very cool when it was revealed it was Evan Peters. But again, there was less to it than I guess we were expecting. Like, everyone thought, oh, like, he's there sent by a villainous force. But, like, what villainous force? What's their motive? How did they get? Why does he look like X-Men? And then I was like, oh, he just happens to. And, like, he's from Agatha. Like, okay, that's... Okay. It was like the first theory that you had, and then nothing beyond that. Which, again, I guess it's mismanagement of expectations and, like, getting too... These MCU shows are probably too big for their own good, I guess, in the sense that everyone will look into every single tiny detail and, like, theorize a million things, and then, yeah, it turns out to be pretty a normal story, I guess, and not this, every time it's not going to be this crazy, epic thing. That being said, I feel like I'm taking away from that this does have really fun twists and turns and all that, you know. I think maybe I'm just a bit deflated from that last episode being a bit like, yeah, that was okay, I guess. I really enjoyed the commercials as well. Thought that was a very fun, more subtle, I mean, it's not super subtle, but, you know, it's fun little Easter eggs and then a way to convey certain traumas from Wanda's past in this TV show style, and each time it's a different decade, just like the TV show. Again, I can't stress enough how much I enjoyed the TV show style of it, and how it goes from, you know, I Love Lucy type stuff and Full House and Modern Family and this kind of thing. I mean, Vision gives a Jim Halpert look at the camera. Like, how is this not the greatest thing ever created? And I also enjoyed the subtle ways early on it kind of tells you that something's up, where the camera movement will change from scene to scene. It's like the normal sitcom, and then it goes from like something's up, and then like the camera will no longer move in the same way as like a 1960s sitcom, and it'll have these camera movements that are, you know, indicate that something's up. I really enjoyed that. The theme songs and the costumes and music and laugh tracks, and I don't know, it just did such a good job. I really enjoyed that. I can't stress it enough. Yeah, there are like genuinely some funny moments in the sitcoms as well. And then like some funny kind of more meta moments, like we got Baby Vision up on the screen, which I really enjoyed. I also enjoyed that each episode, I mean, they get longer as they go, but I enjoyed that it's 9 episodes. Some of them are like as short as 20 minutes or something. Like The Mandalorian, it doesn't feel like it was dragged out at all. It feels like it was this story that they had. Boom, we want 9 episodes. Okay, we'll put in that, you know? And this one only has to be 20 minutes. Okay, we won't stretch it out to an hour for no reason. Cough, cough, Iron Fist, cough, cough. I feel like I've done that meme quite a few times, so. And then the post-credit scene, the Skrulls come to get Monica to help out Talos and Nick Fury on their space mission, because there's going to be a Secret Invasion show with them, because Nick Fury is off in space. Cool. I like how it's all tied together. Clearly they have like a giant whiteboard or something where they've, you know, mapped it all out. I will say also, the show made me care much more about Wanda and Vision's relationship than previous MCU stuff has. Like in the finale when they were saying goodbye, I was like, hey, like when they were saying goodbye in Endgame or in Infinity War, I thought, yeah, this is solidly emotional, but I'm not super attached to these characters, so, you know, it is what it is. I'm sorry, Vision. It is what it is. It is what it is. But in this one, I was like, damn, like this actually hurts a little bit. He's totally gonna show up again, because now White Vision has like Vision's memories, and so he's gonna be there hanging out, doing his thing. But for this show, a good ending, I would say. A good emotionally resonant ending, even though it didn't have a big MCU cameo or a big reveal or something. Yeah, you know, it did have a lot of big reveals, but not like a monumental reveal for the rest of Phase 4. I still thought it was good. Agatha's performance, I really enjoyed her as the nosy neighbor kind of character, where you can also tell that she's a bit, you know, something's going on with her. When she becomes, you know, the witch, and she's very over the top, and she's like, join me, Wanda, or give me your powers, and the evil witch scream. I thought she did as well as you probably could with that, but just not as compelling or interesting. And yeah, just at the end, it reminded me a bit of like Wonder Woman, the ending of it, where it was just, here's some lasers and some kind of cliche villainous lines, but it wasn't terrible by any means. On the like kind of breaking through and figuring out that something's up, like the fact that Vision kind of slowly is also discovering that something's weird, and then they have that argument that goes through the credits, like it's stuff like that where it's meta and kind of, it sets up these sitcom episodes so well that when it breaks them and breaks into this MCU world, it's very fun and like interesting. So ultimately, I really, really loved WandaVision. especially the first bit of it. I think it just naturally loses a bit of its like interesting side as it goes and stuff gets more revealed, like by episode 5 or so, just by nature, because stuff is revealed, you know? But I still think it's solid after that. I think that's about as good as you can make that final reveal, because you have to reveal everything at some point. The character stuff is well done with Wanda. You know, it's more pain, and I've been through so much suffering, and God, could she just catch a break? And the next thing she's in just be like her on a vacation or something. I'm like, come on, we've seen her go through so much at this point. Can she just chill out and have fun for a little longer? The character stuff is quite good, made me care more about these characters. I didn't really care too much about their relationship before. It does a great job of capturing the sitcom aesthetic and is a unique entry into the MCU. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this week to week and, you know, predicting stuff and having fun with it. And the stuff outside of Westview with Jimmy and Darcy was also enjoyable. I mean, the villain, what's his name? Hayworth. He's kind of just like bad guy McGee. Like, wasn't much more to him than just being kind of a dick. Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite MCU properties. I'm going to give WandaVision a 9.1 out of 10. Here's how my rating system works, for those who don't know. Not perfect, but a lot better than what I was expecting, really. I thought what episodes 7 or 8 and 9 were, which I wasn't like crazy about. I thought that was going to be the whole thing when it was first announced. So the fact that it was this really unique, interesting way of doing this stuff and had all these intriguing things, a great pleasant surprise. So yeah, Disney Plus MCU stuff off to an amazing start. Can't wait for Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's that, and I hope you enjoyed this review style for me, because this is what I'm planning on doing for new properties, like new movies and new TV shows, so I can kind of get the videos out quicker. And oh god, did Vision? Oh no, Vision's still there. I thought he disappeared. So, thank you very much for watching. You can find me on YouTube, BHL Hudson. Nope, that's the podcast outro. What am I doing? Those are my thoughts on WandaVision. What did you think of it? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson. Check out this podcast I do with a friend of mine where we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. It's called The Poorly Planned Podcast. And subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.